What's going on, everybody? RJ Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com. Hope all is well wherever you are. We hope you're happy, safe, healthy, and that you're ready to tie a bow on the regular season for the Dallas Cowboys. Our Cowboys, your Dallas Cowboys, my Dallas Cowboys. This week have a very interesting game. Not interesting in the sense that it's going to be captivating, but interesting in the sense that it is unlike anything that we have really seen so far this season. On Saturday night, not Sunday afternoon, the Dallas Cowboys will be visiting the Philadelphia Eagles, which would normally be something that we would be really into, really excited about. This is a rivalry. It's the rivalry. It was a big-time game earlier this season when the Cowboys met Philadelphia on Monday Night Football. They won that game 41-21. But because of what has happened between these two teams over the course of the season, because they both established playoff spots already, it's kind of a meaningless game when it's all said and done. And so it's a game that has to happen. It's a game that everybody has to play. It's a game that is going to have a winner and a loser. And obviously, we want to see the Cowboys win, but that has affected our preview show because it's hard to look at certain matchups. It's hard to look at certain things to pay attention to because we don't know how much certain starters or any starters are going to play in this game. COVID has obviously been a factor early on this week. Micah Parsons, Tyron Smith, Anthony Brown. That's just the Cowboys side of things. The Eagles are dealing with their own players on the COVID list. So we've put together a preview show, but it is a little bit different than anything we've done so far this season. We will, of course, get back to our normal rhythm when it comes to next week in the wild card matchup, whoever the Cowboys are playing. But when it comes to this game, when it comes to the Cowboys-Eagles matchup, we'll get to that first. A couple of things from me before we dive into the film room with Matt Minnick. First of all, we have to remember that this game is ultimately meaningless. Now, I know that you or somebody might say there are no meaningless games. If you're playing, you play to win. I expect to win. I would rather win than lose. That's fine. I don't have any level of disagreement with you there. I would rather the Cowboys win than lose. But there is not a lot that can be achieved by winning this game. Yes, the Cowboys can potentially influence their seeding in the NFC playoff picture. Like I said, we'll get to that in a little bit. But this is not a game where you need to sell anything out to win because you are playing postseason football beginning next weekend. So don't risk anything. Don't go above or beyond to win this game. I know that's a really weird thing to say. This game, in an ultimate sense, is meaningless, and it's okay to say that out loud. Now, second thing from me, kind of piggybacking off of that point, the main goal here is not really to win. And I know that sounds very strange. I know that's hard for some people to accept. The main goal, the main objective is to come out of this game healthy. We do not want to see any Cowboys injured or hurt in this game that would impact the Cowboys' hopeful playoff run. We saw Michael Gallup tear his ACL last week while catching a touchdown. Life is very precious in the NFL. We know that. The Cowboys and the Eagles too, I mean, for their own sake, this is a game where nobody has to do anything crazy. This is like a final preseason game, really, when you kind of boil it down. You don't need to do anything ridiculous. You don't need to be a hero. Just get out of this game, get home, get ready to host a playoff game if you're the Cowboys, and do it as healthy as you possibly can. Next thing for me, final thing before we dive into the film room, this game is taking place on a Saturday. And I know that there are a lot of people who believe that the NFL is out to get the Cowboys, but the NFL did the Cowboys and the Eagles kind of a huge favor by putting this game on Saturday. Because this game is on Saturday, the Dallas Cowboys will have a day of an advantage against whoever they are going to play in the wild card round of the playoffs. Now, to be fair here, it is still possible for the Cowboys to play the Eagles in the wild card round, which would obviously mean there would not be an advantage because that's who Dallas is playing in this game. But it is more likely than not that the Cowboys will play the Cardinals or the Rams or even the 49ers. And if that is the case, because those teams play on Sunday this week, whether the Cowboys wildcard game takes place on Saturday or Sunday or even Monday, the Cowboys are going to have a day of extra rest / preparation over their playoff opponent. And that is an important thing that the Cowboys have to take advantage of. We talk so much about that during the regular season when the Cowboys are coming off of the mini bye or their regular bye and how important that rest and advantage is. One day is big. This time of year, when you're talking about the playoffs, whoever you're going up against, you got a lot of players hurt, a lot of people dealing with different things. It is a huge thing to get an extra day. So the Cowboys have to take advantage of that. So that's my little spiel when it comes to this game. But what do we need to see in the film room? Matt Minnick has done a fantastic job all season long of educating us on different things. Let's go ahead and see what he has in store for us when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles.
The last time the Cowboys saw the Eagles was way back in Week 3, and that game was an easy win for Dallas. Just about the only thing the Eagles could do right in Week 3 was pressuring Dak Prescott. Jerron Hargrave, in particular, created a lot of problems for the Dallas offense. Here, Hargrave collapses the pocket, forcing the fumble that the Eagles recovered for a touchdown. The Cowboys need to be strong in pass protection to prevent plays like this from happening. But the Cowboys were dominant in that game overall. They got a defensive score of their own off of Jalen Hurts' second interception of the day. Trayvon Diggs jumped the out route and took it to the house. Hurts has improved over the course of the season, but he still throws too many interceptions. The Cowboys need to take advantage of the turnover opportunities that he creates. In the weeks that have passed since that game, the Eagles have tried to do more to help Hurts. They're using formations that allow more players to help in pass protection, and they've committed to running the football. This is a major shift from what they were doing earlier this season. In this clip from last week's game, Boston Scott finds a seam and runs the ball for a 14-yard gain. To win this game, the Cowboys need to win on the line of scrimmage, both offensively and defensively. If they can do that and take advantage of turnover opportunities, this should be an easy win for the Cowboys.
Big thanks to Matt Minnick for walking us through the film room, something he's been doing all season long, doing a fantastic job for us here on the Blogging the Boys YouTube channel. He'll, of course, continue that next week as the Cowboys get ready for their wild card opponent. But before we look to that, we do obviously have to kind of tie a bow on our normal preview practices. I mean, this is our preview show, after all, here on the Blogging the Boys YouTube channel. So if you somehow do not know by this point in time, how do you watch this game? We do have the 11-5 Dallas Cowboys visiting the 9-7 Philadelphia Eagles. This is the first 18th game, or 18th week rather, 17th game of the season for the Cowboys and the Eagles. Obviously, week 18 is something that we're all new to. This game taking place on Saturday. It is one of two games, two NFL games happening on Saturday. The Kansas City Chiefs playing the Denver Broncos earlier in the day. Now, this game is on Saturday, not Sunday, but it will have a Monday night feel. This game is going to be on ESPN and have the normal Monday Night Football broadcast. We do have one more Monday night game in our lives, by the way, just on an NFL note. This coming Monday will feature the national championship between Alabama and Georgia, but a week after that, we will have a Monday wild card playoff game. Obviously, the teams that play in that are to be determined, but the Monday Night Football broadcast will call this Saturday Week 18 game. Lots of unique details between the Cowboys and the Eagles. We'll have Steve Levy, Louis Riddick, Brian Greasy, and Lisa Salters on the call. If you would rather listen to the game, maybe you're a purist, you can always do so on the home of the Dallas Cowboys, 105.3 The Fan. Brad Sham, Christy Scales, and Babe Loffenberg on the call there. Like I said, meaningless. And I know that word is kind of taboo for a lot of you. I know a lot of you don't like to look at it that way, but in that sense, it's really difficult to predict. It's difficult to say who's going to win and who's going to even play. And it's hard to obviously say who's going to win because we don't know who's going to play. But all things considered, the Cowboys do need to win this game a little bit more than the Eagles, and we'll look into exactly why in just a moment. So I will take the Cowboys to win 20-13, depending on when and where you look. At the moment that we have put this show together for you, according to our friends at DraftKings, the Cowboys are 7-point favorites, but I'll take a Cowboys win. They get to 12 on the season, and we're a little bit happier entering the postseason. So I've been talking about it all show long, and we were going to kind of look at the way the playoff picture could ultimately shake out. Now, the Cowboys are the first NFC game to take place this week because, again, they're playing on Saturday. So obviously we want to see the Cowboys win, and the only way they can improve their playoff positioning does involve a win from themselves. But if they are to improve their playoff positioning, they're going to need some help from across the NFC. And there are a few games that we're going to be paying attention to here. Now, this handy dandy chart is incredible. It comes to us from Dennis Selman on Twitter. He is at Dennis, D-E-N-I-Z, Selman, S-E-L-M-A-N 33. We've written about this earlier this week at our site, bloggingtheboys.com. But what you're looking at here is the results of the NFC playoff picture. There are 9 different permutations based on the results of 5 different games. Obviously, one of those is the Cowboys-Eagles game on Saturday night. The left portion, your left portion of this chart is indicative of wins. So if you look at that top row, for example, right next to my head here, if I could point the right direction, goodness gracious, right up here. That row shows what happens if the Rams beat the 49ers and the New Orleans Saints beat the Atlanta Falcons. And if that is the case, the reason those other boxes are gray is because they no longer matter. Though in that world, in that hypothetical, those games don't have any meaning. So that's the case for all of the rows, obviously, looking at this entire chart. So in that world, if the Rams were to win and the Saints were to win on Sunday, the Cowboys win over Philadelphia or loss even against Philadelphia would not matter. Dallas would be the 4 seed. The Los Angeles Rams would be the NFC West champions as the 2 seed, and the Arizona Cardinals would be the team that the Cowboys would host in the wild card round. As you can see, more often than not, most of the permutations feature the Cowboys hosting the Cardinals as the 4 seed in the NFC, but it is still possible for them to be the 3 and even the 2 seed. If you look down, the third from the bottom results situation here, if you get a San Francisco 49ers win on Sunday against the Rams. Now, keep in mind, the 49ers have won their last 5 games in a row against the Rams, so this is definitely possible. If that happens, if the Niners win, the reason that the boxes are gray next to them is because if San Francisco wins, New Orleans is out no matter what happens. So at that point, the New Orleans-Atlanta game means nothing. And then if we move on one more over, you see Seattle. If Seattle beats the Arizona Cardinals, that would ensure that the Los Angeles Rams stay division champions there in the NFC West. And this is possible. I know Seattle's obviously not a great team this season, but this is very likely. At the very least, the last Seahawks game with both Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll involved. Maybe one of them does return next year. But so maybe there's some energy there. Obviously, they're division rivals as well. But if we get those things, if you follow my train of thought, and again, we're looking at the third from the bottom list of results here. If the 49ers beat the Rams, if the Seahawks beat the Cardinals, then no matter what happens with the Buccaneers game, the Cowboys have improved, assuming they won on Saturday night, which is why you see the Dallas win there. If that were to happen, if Tampa were to beat the Panthers, which is honestly pretty likely, I think of all these things, that's the most unlikely thing the Cowboys are going to get to help them out, that being a Carolina win. But if we have San Francisco, Seattle, and Tampa wins after the Cowboys win on Saturday night, then Dallas would move up to the 3 seed in the NFC, as you can see, and they would host the San Francisco 49ers in the wild card round. That's honestly the situation I think I'm rooting for the most, just because I don't believe in the 49ers with Jimmy Garoppolo, and it seems like Kyle Shanahan does. So if he wants to go down that path, I think that would be an awesome playoff game for the Cowboys. For what it's worth, if we get those results and a Tampa loss, so if the Niners win, if the Seahawks win, and if the Panthers somehow upset the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Cowboys win on Saturday night, that's the result down there at the very bottom. You see Dallas jumping all the way up to the 2 seed, and they would then host the Philadelphia Eagles. That's the only way that Dallas would host Philly in the wild card round if all 4 of those things happen. That seems a little bit unlikely in this host's humble opinion, but obviously we'll see what happens throughout the course of the weekend. There's going to be a lot of action that changes on Sunday afternoon. Yeah, let's hope that we get the right kind of help. So, weird preview show. I get it. Not necessarily our normal kind of sequence here, but we will be back obviously next week with a normal week and hopefully more weeks beyond that. This is kind of the last chance for the Cowboys to kind of set things up because the tournament's about to begin, and we all obviously are hopeful that it's going to be one that nets the Cowboys their 6th world championship. That's something we've been hoping for a very long time now, and it's very possible. So, but a lot of obviously their path and their odds of probability are going to, depend on the results that happen all throughout Sunday's NFL action, which sets up the seeding in the NFC. So, let's have a good time. It's a Saturday night game. It's a Saturday night game. This is actually kind of fun if you love the entire NFL, because if you're a Cowboys fan, you get to watch the Cowboys-Eagles game on Saturday night. And like I said, I really think that this is a Dallas one, because if you look at this, let's put this up here one more time. Philly really cannot change their standing whatsoever. In 7 of the 9 permutations, the Eagles are the 7 seed. They are the 3rd wild card. So it's really unlikely that Philadelphia is going to improve their playoff positioning. So that's why I'm saying the Cowboys kind of need to win this game a little bit more than the Eagles. And sometimes in the unique situations like this one that we've seen before, you generally see the team that needs to win a little bit more go out and make sure they get that and establish it going into the weekend. So hopefully that's what happens for the Cowboys. And we get a Sunday of NFL action to tie a bow on the regular season. And then it all starts. Then the fun starts. So my name is RJ Ochoa. You know me from the Blog on the Boys universe. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at RJ Ochoa. You can kind of hear my dog barking in the background. He was a good boy all the way up until now. If email's more your speed, you can hit me up, rj.ochoa@sbnation.com. It's been a fun season, and we're hopeful that there's a lot more to come. So thanks for joining us, whether it was today, all along, one time, 100 times. You're the best, and we really appreciate you. And we'll be here live on Saturday night following the Cowboys-Eagles game for our post-game show. So thanks a lot for joining us, everybody. We'll see you next time.